Have you ever wondered if you really should let those door-to-door roofers do that free inspection on your roof? I've worked in the roofing industry since 2011, and I've noticed there's about 12 common mistakes that homeowners typically make when a door-to-door roofer shows up at their door. I'm going to say right up front, for all the roofers that might be watching this, there are a lot of honest, ethical roofers who go door-to-door trying to drum up business that way. But there's also a lot of dishonest, unethical scammers that do that, and they're counting on the fact that you're not going to know the difference. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you the things that I've told to hundreds of other homeowners, and knowing these things is going to help you not make the same mistake that I've seen so many other homeowners make. So let's jump right into the common mistakes that homeowners make if a door-to-door roofer shows up at their door.
Across the country, we see some type of a natural disaster happen. People come from out of state claiming to help fix the problems.
Mistake number one is using out-of-state roofers. Now, you may not think that using an out-of-state roofer is such a big deal, right? Because they're just coming to your location, doing your roof, and then they're going on and doing somebody else's roof probably. But if you ever end up having a problem with the work that was done or the product that was installed, if that roofer isn't in your area, how are you going to get him to come back to fix the problem? If that roofer's 1 or 2 states or 3 states away from you, he's not going to want to come back just to fix some small problem. So that means you're probably going to have to find a local roofer to come fix it, and that's going to be out of your pocket. Mistake number 2 is not being home when the roofer's there doing the inspection. Now again, it might be really convenient to just tell the roofer, all right, I'm going to be at work, go ahead and come on over, do your thing. But that is such a mistake. You want to make sure that you're home when the roofer's there doing his inspection, because even if you're not outside watching him do it, if you're there, that reduces the possibility that he can perform vandalism on your roof or some sort of fraud.
He's bending down, good Lord, and just starts creasing the shingle. He gets one hand underneath it, the other hand behind it to brace it, and creases that shingle.
But the best idea is not only be home, but just watch him as he's doing his inspection. If you're dealing with an honest roofer, it's not going to make a difference because he's not going to do anything that he shouldn't be doing when he's up on your roof. But if you're dealing with a dishonest roofer, then as soon as he knows or thinks that nobody's watching, that's when he's going to cause damage to your roof or commit fraud. Remember, this is your home. Are you going to trust somebody that you don't know that just randomly showed up at your house not to damage your property? Mistake number 3 is not asking for verification that the roofer has insurance. Now, there's 2 types of insurance that you want to make sure that the roofer has: general liability insurance and workers' comp insurance. General liability protects you if something on your property gets damaged during the project. Workers' comp insurance protects you if somebody gets injured on your property, then that insurance will pay the costs associated with the medical benefits that the guy receives or whatever care is necessary to get him back to the point where he can work. What you don't want to have happen is have somebody on your property that gets hurt, and then that ends up having to be a claim on your insurance coverage, or you have to come out of pocket to pay for anything like that. But how can you know if the roofer does have the insurance? Simple. You just ask the roofer to have his insurance agent email you his most current insurance certificates. Don't let the roofer just hand you an insurance certificate, because those are really easy to counterfeit. You want an insurance agent to email you that certificate, and you just want to look at it and make sure that the coverage is still current, that the expiration date hasn't passed. It's a mistake to not ask for that, because then you're making the assumption that the roofer is covered by insurance, and if something goes wrong and then you find out that he doesn't have insurance, then you're really on the hook. Mistake number 4 is not making sure that your contractor is licensed to do the work that you're hiring him to do. Now, some areas don't require the contractors to be licensed, but most areas do. If you live in an area that does require your contractor to be licensed, make sure you know what his current contractor license number is, that he's licensed to do the work that you're hiring him to do, and that his license isn't expired.
There's my license.
Shows it expires December 31st, 2013.
That's just a copy of it. No.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Mistake number 5 is not getting a second opinion. Now think about it. If somebody just randomly shows up at your house and you don't know this person, he wants to do a free inspection of your roof, and then he comes down off your roof and says, oh, yep, you've got damage. You're going to need to replace your whole roof. Why in the world should you trust that person unless you went up on the roof with him and saw the damage? But think about it. If a random stranger showed up at your house and told you that you needed a $20,000 medical surgery, would you trust that person? But yet people trust the door-to-door roofers all the time when they just tell them, yep, you need a full roof replacement. Mistake number 6 is signing anything at the inspection. Now, this could be signing something before the inspection or signing something after the inspection. Random guy at your door shows up, wants to inspect your roof, and says, oh, but I need you to sign this. Should you do that? Definitely don't sign that. Oftentimes, they'll try to make you think that you're signing some sort of liability waiver, giving them permission to go on your roof. But that's not what you're signing. And then when they come down off the roof, if they're asking you to sign something, again, you may be misled about what it is that you're signing, but in all actuality, you might be signing a document that commits you to using that roofing company if you decide to have the work done or if you decide to file an insurance claim. Don't make the mistake of signing anything at the inspection. If the door-to-door roofer is asking you to sign something, just tell him, trying to figure out how to put this politely.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done.
Mistake number 7 is not asking the roof inspector to show you photos or videos of the damage. So if the inspector gets down off the roof and says, yes, I found damaged shingles or I found damaged accessories, and I think you should file a claim, or I think you should have the roof repaired or replace the whole roof, whatever it is, if you're not asking for some sort of proof, if you didn't go up on the roof with the roofer, if you're not asking for some sort of proof that what he's telling you is actually the condition of your roof, that's a big mistake.
They went up on the roof right here. They told him that he had a hole in his roof.
This Greenville house did not have a hole in the roof prior to a knock at the door Monday. The same thing happened in Roslyn Heights.
He said he was working in the neighborhood and he sent up a drone to check out to see if there were any other available houses he could work on, and he saw a hole in my roof.
Now here's where it gets a little interesting, because the dishonest roof inspectors might have a stock library of photos so that they can show you shingles that are similar to the color of your shingles, and those shingles in the photos have damage and maybe yours doesn't. So you want to make sure, again, let's go back to one of the previous mistakes. It's a good idea to watch the roofer do his inspection. Mistake number 8 is hiring a roofer who says he's going to pay your deductible. First of all, in almost 40 states, the roofer paying your insurance deductible is illegal.
Wait, that's illegal.
So roofers who offer to waive a homeowner's deductible could land themselves in jail.
It's insurance fraud, whether it's illegal in your state or not. And we've got a video that explains how and why it's insurance fraud and how and why the roofer is able to do it. And if you want to watch that video, it's right up here. But don't make the mistake of hiring a roofer who says he's going to pay your deductible, because if your deductible is $1,000 or $2,000 or sometimes even more, think about it. Why would a roofer willingly, voluntarily give up $1,000 to $2,000 of profit just to get your job. He's going to cut costs somewhere in your job. It may be with lower quality labor. It may be with lower quality materials. It may be the fact that he doesn't have the insurance coverage that he needs to protect you. One way or another, you're paying that deductible whether you're giving the money to the roofer or not, because you're going to end up getting a lower quality roof out of the deal. Plus, if you go ahead and do that, hire a roofer who's going to pay your deductible, not only is the roofer committing fraud, but you, as the homeowner, in collusion with the roofer, are also committing insurance fraud. Mistake number 9 is pulling the permit for the roofer. Now, if you hire a roofer, but that roofer says that to save you money, he wants you to pull the permit, that should be a big red flag right there. Because if the roofer is licensed, he can pull the permit. If he's asking you to pull the permit, chances are he's not a licensed contractor in your area. Mistake number 10 is literally doing anything right now. And by right now, what I'm saying is that if the roofer is pressuring you to do anything in a rush in which you don't feel like you have the time to think it through, don't do it. Again, just tell the roofer, no thank you, goodbye. So if the roofer is asking you to agree to let him inspect the roof right now, that's a red flag. If the roofer is asking you to sign anything right now, red flag. If the roofer wants you to file a claim right now and he'll even get on the phone with you, another red flag. Just don't feel pressured. It's only the most extreme circumstances, right? The worst of the worst storms that can cause the kind of damage in which you need to get a claim initiated right away. For most normal hailstorms or wind events, you've got time to think things through. Doing anything like this in a hurry is a mistake, because you're talking about, not only a potentially $15,000 to $20,000 expense for your roof, but you're talking about the fact that the roof protects your home, probably your biggest investment. Why would you want to just rush into something like that? Think about it like this, right? Remember, your roof typically is not going to be very urgent. It's not as if you go to the doctor and he says, your appendix needs to come out right now. Well, your appendix may need to come out right now, but your roof needing to be replaced, or a claim needing to be filed, or you needing to sign something right now, just don't do it. Mistake number 11 is giving the contractor money up front. And by up front, what I mean is either at the inspection, let's say you've already got an approved insurance claim, the roofer comes out, inspects your roof, and you say, yeah, okay, we'd like to go ahead and use you, and he wants you to give him money right then. Or once you get your insurance check, let's say he's done the inspection and a couple weeks later you get your insurance check and he wants that insurance check right then. Oftentimes they're going to tell you that they need that money to get you on the schedule. Well, that may be their policy. They're not going to put anybody on the schedule unless they've got a deposit. But that's a questionable policy in my opinion. Now, here's why this is a problem. There are obviously honest, ethical roofers that are going to ask for a deposit up front. But that's where you as a homeowner can really run into problems. Because if you give this roofer money up front, if he just disappears, what are you going to do? Especially if that's your insurance check and he takes off with your insurance check, what are you going to do? Your insurance company is not going to give you a replacement check for that. And this kind of thing happens all the time, everywhere there are storms.
Fix the problems, repair roofs and hail damage, things like that. They oftentimes will ask for money up front and then leave.
Just don't make that mistake. Now, it's fine if a roofer wants to get a deposit from you, you want to just ask him either politely or kind of confidently, however you feel comfortable doing it, that once the material is at your property, then you'll write that deposit check. Or if he wants the check right now, then post date it for the date that the materials are going to be delivered. That way, if the roofer has materials delivered to your house and you give him a check and then he skips out on you, at least you've paid for the materials and you're not out that money. Mistake number 12 is quite literally hiring somebody who just randomly showed up at your door. Now, here in Colorado, our state attorney general, lots of the county district attorneys, lots of the county sheriffs tell homeowners, don't hire anybody who shows up at your front door to do work in or on your house. There's an important, what I would say, this little cliche that I came up with to remember on this. Not every roofer that shows up at your door is going to rip you off, but every roofer that's going to rip you off is probably going to show up on your doorstep. You've got to remember that if some random guy just shows up at your door offering some sort of service, you have no idea who that person is, whether he works for a legitimate company or not, or whether he even works for a roofing company. And the dishonest guys are counting on the fact that you don't know the difference between the honest ones and the dishonest ones. But by watching this video and understanding the mistakes that other people make, you're going to be able to tell the difference between who are the honest guys at your door and who are the scammers.
It's nonsense. It's a typical scam job.
For advice, we went to John Dickman, a roofer with 42 years experience.
Somebody knocks on your door, just say, no, thank you. I have a roofer or I have a contractor.